So getting a new TV arriving is always exciting, from the peeling off of the plastic to enjoying the actual machine. But this year it's slightly different. I've gone from this room here looking an absolute state where I had to remove a fireplace, and I've built a brand new media center where I can show off two TVs. And those two TVs that we'll be showing off will be the LG G3 OLED against the brand new LG G4 2024 OLED. Now guys, I'm not a complete madman who has two TVs side by side, so I will show you it in a single room environment, and I'll also show you it with the new LG Soundbar, which is also the gallery design, which works perfectly with the gallery mount on the TV and also the sub. Don't forget to hit the red button to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up and click the notification bell to get my next video first. So as well as loads of side-by-side action, we'll also feature some of the improvements and advancements that LG have made in their LG Evo G4 OLED this year. And we'll talk about the new stand options and also the peace of mind with the 5-year warranty. After all, this is from the world's #1 OLED TV brand. Depending on which TV you buy will depend on your unboxing experience. I've gone for the wall mount, so it's identical to last year. That is depicted by having a W at the end of the model name, whereas the stand will have an S at the end, so that's how you tell the difference. So the physical features of both of these TVs are pretty much identical, but there is definitely a difference. So I asked everybody that popped around my house with these two TVs up which one looked the best, and 92% said the G4. Now I know that's not a scientific experiment, but it is actually factual, and I definitely agree with the result. Some of the differences are very subtle, but the overall result is that you do definitely know that the G4 is an improvement on the G3, and in this video I will try and explain some of those differences in more detail. So after 11 years of being the leading brand for OLED TVs, you would hope that LG have mastered it, and I really believe they have. For me, there's no better technology than OLED TVs. The individual self-lit pixels turning on and turning off, creating infinite contrast and perfect blacks. Now, the one criticism in years gone by was the fact that these OLEDs didn't get bright enough, but believe me, that is an absolute myth nowadays. They are so bright. In fact, in this scene here, the green scene, I had to lower the exposure on my camera. So there is definitely not a problem, and the G4 is even brighter this year. But it's also the 100% color volume. It really just gives an incredible picture, so all different types of yellow, you see every shade, and it does that without any distortion at all, so the picture always looks perfect. It is absolutely stunning. With Brightness Booster Max, it's up to 150% brighter. That's the 55 to 83-inch versions compared to non-Evo models. And here you can see the difference between on and off, and it is quite staggering. The gold, when it's on, is really gold. Now this is it compared to the G3, and as you can see, it's not 150% brighter, but it's definitely brighter. Now you don't notice it in every single scene like this one, but in most scenes you'll notice it's subtly brighter. Now, what I would say with the G4 is that right across the board the improvements just seem subtly better. Here I've run my color test, and you can see pretty much in every scene the G4 on the right is just that little bit brighter than the G3 on the left. And again, because it's an OLED panel, we've got crystal clean screens. The G3 is now over a year old, and there's absolutely no sign of any image retention. So you can easily go into the peak brightness settings and change it to either off, low, medium or high. Now what I found with the G3, when it was set to high, there was much more noise in darker scenes, but I'm not seeing any of that on the G4. So therefore setting it to medium or even to high to your preference is definitely not going to have any negative effect, or certainly not any major negative effect, whereas it did with the G3. Another big update for the G4 this year is the fact that you've got more professional controls over your HDR dynamic tone mapping. Now this is where you can adjust the highlights in 1000, 4000 and 10,000 nits. You can have it selected on just as standard, have it professional mode, or just disable it if you're in HDIG gaming. And this is available for HDR gaming and also normal HDR content. Okay, so the differences in HDR content again are subtle, but I think that they are effective. And it's mainly the brightness. There is just that little bit extra which gives you more of a warmth to the picture and just gives you a little bit more detail. Don't get me wrong, I don't think there's much wrong at all with the G3. In fact, I still think it looks absolutely stunning. And it's only when the G4 is right next to it you start to see some of these differences. Now for me, one of the biggest differences this year is the Alpha 11 4K AI processor. This does a great job with motion, and I'll come on to motion in a little bit more detail a little bit later. It also made some subtle differences to the upscaling, particularly in dark scenes. Now, it wasn't right across the board. There were some scenes where I really couldn't split the two images, and I thought they were almost identical. But on some, when you did zoom in and get close, you did see maybe slightly more noise on the G3. But again, it was subtle, but it was probably just subtle enough to make a difference because they were side by side. In well-lit bright scenes, I don't think there's that much difference, probably just personal taste down to the brightness. But when you look at really dark areas, here on the lady's hair for instance, if I zoom in, there's definitely more detail on the G4 OLED on the right. So I have to say that there are big differences there, but they're subtle, but I did actually really like them. Now where there's not that much difference is in the operating system. WebOS 24 is very similar to last year's, but again there are some subtle changes. One of these is in your most recent. So in the bottom left hand corner you've got your recent selections, and if you go right down to the end you'll see your recent input. On the G4 this year you get a live picture in picture, whereas as you can see on the left hand side here on the G3 you just get a static image whatever it was on last. The AI features on the G4 this year have also improved. In the quick menu, when you do just press the settings button once, you'll now see a feature for chatbot, and here you can go in and get some advice what you want, whether it be screen issues or anything like that. And you've got the mic button, which is a concierge service. You also have the AI Personalised Picture Wizard, which I think is a fantastic way, if you don't like going into the settings screens, of getting exactly the picture you want. You go into 6 or 7 different screens, you choose up to 2 pictures of your favourites, and then it will generate the picture settings for you. And I found that although I chose different pictures sometimes, it actually came up with a very similar image. And apparently I like a sharp picture, but then who doesn't? There's also a comprehensive AI menu in the main settings screen, so you can go in there and play with that to your heart's content. Whilst you're in the settings screen, you may want to select a different picture mode. Now, I prefer the ISF Expert Bright. Now, this for me works the best. But the great news this year is that the LG's WebOS software is going to be updatable. So all of the nice features that you like and come in new on new TVs, well, you'll be able to get those because WebOS Renew program will update your operating system software for 5 years. Now that is great news. With 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, if you're a gamer, then you're going to absolutely love this TV. In fact, the LG range of OLEDs for the last few years, the top ends, the C series and the G series, in my opinion, have been amongst the best there's ever been. You can scroll through different genres of gaming instantly by just pressing the Game Optimiser button, and this will instantly adjust the picture to give you the best possible experience. It really is absolutely fantastic. Now, if you're a gamer on a PC, then there's a further update. You'll notice that with the HDMI 2.1 ports, they deliver 120Hz refresh rate, or up to. But now if you've got a PC, it will actually deliver up to 144Hz. And so that means you can get an even faster refresh rate if you plug in a compatible PC. As well as that, you've got VRR and G-Sync, AMD FreeSync Premium, and Auto Low Latency mode, as well as all of the other features that make this TV so great. The sound on the G4 this year is greatly improved, with AI Sound Pro and Clear Voice Pro being particularly impressive. But this year I've hooked it up to the SG10TY. This is the one-wall design, the gallery style mount for the soundbar, which works brilliantly with the G4. But also it's a lot cleverer than that. Not only can you hook up rears if you want to, but it will also use the TV as part of the soundstage. And you have the interface available right in front of you on the screen so that you can go in and make changes to all of your sound settings just from the one remote. You can connect the soundbar wirelessly, or you can connect via the HDMI ARC. So let's see how this thing sounds. So I'm linking mine up with the HDMI ARC and the TV. I'll first show you it just as the TV speaker and then the soundbar. So I definitely recommend, if the budget stretches, then definitely look at a soundbar. So in summary, you may be wondering whether it's worth getting the G4 compared to the G3. Well, I guess that may come down to budget, but also it may come down to future-proofing. So if you're wanting the best TV that's available right now, well then it will be the G4, because it's just going to give you that extra bit of future-proofing. Not only that, but because you're getting the WebOS updates for the next 5 years, it will stay very current for the next 5 years. And you may end up regretting saving a little bit of money and going for the G3. Don't get me wrong, I love the G3, it's an incredible TV, but if I had the extra budget, I definitely think it's worth spending the extra. It's just almost like a refined wine. Yes, wine is great, but there are differences between great wines, and this one is a great one. That's it for this video, my friends. Be sure to check out the links in the description because they'll take you to the current price in your location. And if there are any questions, then be sure to leave a comment in the comment section and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. Thanks again, my friends, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. And we're going to be taking a look at the C4 very, very soon.